Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Pierson, the CEO and founder of BlackCloak. We're the pioneer in digital executive protection. I'm joined here today with my good friend James Shreve, the founder of Shreve Legal. Jim, it's great to see you, man.
Oh, great to see you, Chris. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Jim, I mean, when we talk about innovation, when we talk about the next steps in terms of artificial intelligence, when we talk about all of these different topics that are to kind of push the norms of where we are right now, innovation versus regulation, it's almost a sense of like, maybe we've gone a little bit too far and we need a little bit of a return to practicality, if you will. What are your thoughts as we sit here in Washington, D.C. with all the policymakers and regulators and legislators here amongst us?
Thanks. This is a great topic to talk about. And I think here in Washington, we're in a unique situation because here's a place where we actually haven't seen much happening. And so this is at the extreme light touch of regulation, at least on a global scale. Where we're seeing the most regulation in the EU and in some areas where they follow the EU. Following up on GDPR, we had the EU AI Act, which set some very stringent requirements around the AI platform providers, how AI can be used, the testing and so forth, with the idea that it would standardize how AI was developed. What the practical effect that we've seen really is to stifle a lot of innovation. If you look in the EU, you're just not seeing a lot of the cutting edge AI. Some of it goes to other factors like capital, but I think it's hard to argue that innovation has been stifled by some of what the EU has done.
It's interesting when you have different regimes throughout the world, and of course, as you know, we have multiple different privacy regimes. In the European Union, privacy is a fundamental human right and seen as that, and so the data is really, really protected. Everyone's brought up with that understanding. The amount of laws, rules, regulation is just at their highest. In other places, it's a habeas data model where you, the individual, own your data and you'll lease it out, quote unquote, to the different providers you choose or medical providers you choose. In the United States, it's this, it's this patchwork quilt of state by state by state.
Right.
You have some federal laws, right? GLBA for the financials, HIPAA for the healthcare. But I mean, essentially, the privacy regimes that allow a little more experimentation, they do have some disadvantages, but the one advantage is that you're able to experiment a little bit more with new technologies that are in the artificial intelligence space. I mean, do you see that there's going to be any lightening up, any loosening of restrictions in other countries as you see some countries inch ahead and take off, and as you see other countries be maybe more of, laggards in the area?
Well, in the return to practicality idea, I think that when I was talking about what we've seen in Washington versus what we've seen in the EU, Washington shows some of the risks, perhaps of under-regulation, because it was not being regulated at the US at the federal level, so the states stepped in. And so that's why we have this patchwork of state laws, and some of the states did go too far. Some states had a more practical approach. One thing that we have seen at the state level that we've heard talked about at the federal level that I think is tremendously helpful is the idea of sandboxes. Sandboxes can be, because it allows you to take an innovative idea, check it out, see how it's going to work without the fear of the FTC fining you $100 million, right off the bat. So it gives you a way to try and do the idea in a practical way, do it better, and do it in a way that will protect consumers.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about innovation, privacy, and security together, it's really incumbent upon companies, researchers, those that are pushing the bounds to think about those things up front and also think about the regulatory regimes that they're working at. Jim, thank you so much for being here today. Appreciate your time. If you want to learn more about digital executive protection, I hope that you'll go and take a look at our website, blackcloak.io. Thank you.